Hey guys, how's it going? It's X666X Iron Maiden, and today we are going to be going over the Nightwish album, Human Nature. Like I said, I had checked out this album on my own after I realized I wasn't coming back, but I know there's a bunch of you that wanted to know how I felt about the album. I got asked a couple of times, either through comments or private messages. So today we're going to go through that and check it out, the whole album again. Alright, so let's pop up our Spotify here. Basically, as I go through the tracks, I'll play little snippets from it. I'm not sure if in any way that's going to get copyright. I'm just going to be playing it lower volume in the background. I haven't even set the volume yet because, you know, I haven't done this in a while, so I didn't think to set the volume on Spotify first. So let's just check and make sure it's not too loud. First track's really low anyway, right? So we can adjust it as we're going. So, music, we covered it. Well, obviously I'm going to be covering a couple that I've already covered on the channel, which is basically, it's these first four tracks are all the ones we did on the channel. I can't remember if I think music came out first or it was noise. I can't remember anymore. I'd have to go back and look. But I thought that music was a great way to start the album. It just, probably because, you know, it's this intro that you're hearing in the background right now, which I can tell is going to be too loud. We're going to turn that down just a little bit. I just find it was a really nice, almost relaxing way to come into this album. And in general, I thought it was, if you remember correctly, I was like, I'm trying to remember my first reaction. See, I didn't rewatch it, but if I remember correctly, I wasn't sure like how to feel for this album yet. I felt like a little weird, but as I think I said in the video, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, and then we'll just go off of that. I think I remember saying that it felt different, that it might take some getting used to, just because, you know, they had done a little bit of a different direction again. Compared to you know, obviously the previous work. It was definitely different, especially, you know, you got the tribal going on feel to this song at start. And the more I listened to it after that, I know I definitely ended up enjoying it a lot more over time, and just a really nice way to start the album. It really gets me in the mood to listen to the rest of it. And it's a decently long track too, you know, it's 7.5 minutes almost, as you can see. Actually, you guys can't see it on yours, but I can see it on mine. And I thought it was a pretty good start. Let's move on next to Noise, which is probably, besides, truthfully for me, just for me personally, and I think some of you would probably have, you know, from knowing me throughout the years, those of you that have been around the channel probably know that this one did hit really good. This one, just the upbeat feel to Noise, and then as much as it's trying to tell a message, I actually don't think about the message too much when I'm listening to it, surprisingly. I usually listen to songs that are very like put towards a certain meaning. I usually listen to it, you know, when I'm checking it out, I'm usually listening to that subject matter, but for some reason this one I just enjoyed the song structure, the way the song's put together. It's kind of upbeat to us as well, and I don't know. It's more the instrumental side that I enjoy about this one in the end, and less the meaning. But every song is different for everyone, right? So that's probably, it's just me, just, you know, it just hit different for me. But it's really just that song structure. Obviously, the way she sings the lyrics and all that mixes into song structure. It's just super catchy. It's probably the most catchy song on the whole album, and you can tell it's one of the singles. And I believe they went this way on purpose, obviously. But yeah, no, in general, Noise was a pretty great track. And it just, even right now, listening to it, I'm like, oh, I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited to listen to it, but we're not going to go through the whole track. Up next, Shoemaker. This one, is quite possibly my favorite off the album at this moment. My favorites switch depending on my mood, but at this moment, this one is quite possibly my favorite. Again, this is another song structure one. The difficulty of this track as well sticks out for me a lot. As you can... just listening right here at this part, you guys all know that this is not an easy part to sing. It's a lot of breath control. It's a lot of up down in the volume of the voice and all that. It's pretty crazy. I wasn't expecting it when we came and checked out the album when I first listened to this track, but this one's really grown on me the most, probably out of most of the tracks. It's just such a good track. I really, really enjoy it. Don't mind me looking over here over and over again. I'm watching the baby monitor at the same time because the child is moving. And parents, you're getting nervous sometimes when you see your child moving. You're like, it's gonna wake up. On top of that, once you guys told me in the comments what this track was about, I just looked into it a bit more, and I thought it was very interesting. Checking out the whole meaning behind with Shoemaker was just interesting to look up on my own after we had seen the video, so that was also cool. But for me, really, it's the ending of this track, which, it's that build-up, starting, obviously, at this part. I'm jumping ahead. It's just, love it. And then, obviously, it builds into even more, just continues to build, and that's just great. I love that. Alright, moving on to Harvest. Another favorite of mine. It seems it's this album, it's all my favorite tracks are all like right at the start of the album at this moment. Obviously again that could change. I'm a person that I really get into a few tracks on an album, but in the future I'll randomly come back and I'll be in a different mood and it'll just change how I feel about certain tracks, and it could happen with this album. It's highly possible. So we'll see how that goes anyway. But Harvest, another one for the same reason that I told you guys when we did the video. It just has that folky element, has the drums here. Like it just reminds me of Acadian music, which is my traditional music. That's my heritage. And I did get corrected on what I think I was talking about when we did this one. I thought harvest meant like harvesting fields and stuff, but it was bigger than that, if I remember correctly. It was about I think it was more about like people's lives, stuff. I can't remember exactly what you guys said. It's been so long. I would have to go back and look again. I'm just thinking of it as I'm going through. But this one too, and hearing Troy, I love hearing Troy's voice too. I love his voice and get a lot of his singing on it, so I really enjoyed that part of it. And then, moving on to Pan. From here on, I find a lot of the times I don't have a lot of time to listen to music anymore. A lot of the time it's at work, and I find that from here on I'm a little bit less knowledgeable on the full scope of the songs, which is unfortunate. And again, that comes back to I have these favorite tracks and I listen to them a lot more when I hear them. It's a downfall. Like having the kid now, and I was always at work. I don't have a lot of time to listen to music, and it is a downfall. I hate that I don't know all this album as well as I know like a certain half of it. But Pan, I do enjoy the feel to it. It has. Right now you're hearing it, a little bit of whimsical and all that going on in it. I'm also just realizing now, as we're talking about the album, almost all the tracks are around 5 minutes for this section. They're all within 5 to 5.5 minutes roughly. For most of the album, I never really noticed that until now. Let me just jump ahead a little bit here. Yeah, it also comes in whimsical, but hitting that heavy part just gets you into it too, which I really enjoy. You guys know, you guys that are into prog along with me you love these elements when you come in and you got such a mix. And Nightwish always brings that mix. It's almost like prog a lot of time to me. Like I know a lot of people put it under symphonic power metal, stuff like that, but there's a lot of prog elements in Nightwish because they're just so broad in their sound that it's automatically that. It just automatically just happens, whether it's intentional or not. But yeah, it's a decent track. It's not one of my favorites. I still enjoy it. I enjoy that it goes from that, whimsical, heavy. I like the mix, but it's not one of my favorites on the album. It just never hit me in that way. It might never, could still. How's the Heart? Sorry, skipping a bit ahead because it comes in silent. This one is another one that I think it might hit me more later. Because again, it comes in with this very folk intro. And it just plucks at the heartstrings for that sound. But for some reason the song hasn't hit me quite the same as some other of the songs yet. It's just the way it is, like jump through. It just builds up a bit more. And it keeps that folk sound. But I think the biggest reason is, as you're hearing as I'm cutting through until we get to about here, which is 3/4 of the way through the song, it's a lot of sounding kind of the same-ish. And I think that's just, for me, a lot of Nightwish. I feel like I just really enjoy the songs that have a mixture of things going on. Again, sticking out to my prog side. And I think that might be one reason why it hasn't hit me yet. But we'll see. It could still do it. It could still do it. And that's the same for any song here. And I like to say that because I know I'm going to get comments like, oh, how can you not like this song as much or not? It's just everyone's built different, I feel like I need to say that disclaimer in almost every video I do, but you can't say it all the time. Some people don't listen anyway. They think because they love it, you'll love it too, but it's not always like that. Procession. This one starts off interesting and different from the others with that electronic intro, which is really cool. It's different. It's not something I was expecting when I first heard it. So again, this one kind of grabbed me a little bit for that at the start. Plus she comes in with those really nice calm vocals on top of it, even though the electronic, I'm not sure if he's using a synth. It's probably a synth. Could just be keyboards, but it's really coming in with, it's almost upbeat to a certain degree. It's almost something you'd hear on like a chill step or something like that. And it's just interesting to have her really nice calm vocals over the top of it. And then obviously as we're jumping through, it builds up into more of the rock sound that they're known for. And then just these certain elements, like I'm trying to find the elements. I know it's only in here a couple of times here, but near the end you got more of the electronic. And then the rock to finish it off. But I thought it was a really cool concept to have that synth or keyboard effect style of song throughout a lot of it, and it was different because I don't think I've heard them do that before. I even going through, we covered almost their entire discography, only missing maybe like 8 songs throughout the whole thing, and I don't think they've done that before from what I remember. So it was really interesting to hear that, and I did enjoy Procession a little bit more because of that, but again, not one of my favorites. It just hasn't grabbed me. Tribal. Now we're about halfway through, but obviously, as a lot of you can see, we hit basically the score. I guess we'll call it a score, even though it's not like that. But it's obviously a type of, not score. Sorry, I'm using the wrong words. But it's broken up into sections. But it is one song. It's more of a classical style of writing that you don't see a lot of that much anymore. Have a song that's broken up. Tribal. Again, they're sticking with that tribal-esque feeling from a few songs throughout the album. It obviously sticks to the theme of the album, which I like. It's okay. And as you go, you gotta like that she brings in a little bit of a rougher voice here, almost a growl. And then it gets heavy. Yeah, there you go. That's a good part. But again, going through this one, it's interesting, but for some reason, I don't like it all that much. It just doesn't, even though it has nice like mix up of things going on, I really didn't like this track as much. And I don't know if it's just me. I don't know. I just felt like this track didn't hit in the same way, I guess. I don't know. It didn't hit me in the same way as maybe some others would have. I didn't like it as much. It was different, and just in a way that I don't enjoy Nightwish as much in that direction, I guess. That's all it is for me. Moving on to Endlessness. Nice slow intro on the guitar, but skipping ahead a bit. So this one I need to remind myself, because I feel like this one for some reason I can't remember it as well. Oh yes, okay. Yeah, this one I do like the vocals on it a lot, which is pretty good. It's a big focus to it, as you can hear, because it keeps a lot of the same guitar parts and feel to the song, even though I'm almost halfway through it right now. Plus Marco's vocals, they always sound good. Here's the change, yeah, and then it kicks up into the second half. Brings in the orchestration. You can almost tell that we're working up to the next song, because it just feels like a build up to that next song. That's interesting here, because I can't remember if there was any guests on this album at all. It almost sounded. I don't think there is, but it almost sounded like Michael Ackerfeld right there for a sec. I know it probably wasn't, but right here it's Marco, but he almost had like a Michael Ackerfeld feel for like a second. So overall, Endlessness is just a nice transition track, I find. Like I like not skipping it. Not knowing there's not really a song on here really that I want to skip. But a lot of transition tracks on certain other albums, I usually skip them, but I find like this one fits perfect to move on to the next set of tracks, which is the next 8, which is like the big finale, you know. All the works of nature which adorn the world, starting off with Vista. And if it wants to play. Whenever it wants to decide to play, we'll give it a sec. It's just got new internet set up, so it's probably just taking a sec. There we go. Still working out the kinks on the new internet. Yeah, as you can see, the internet's acting up. And this is where I was trying to say that when I'm working, I find it's a lot harder to listen to this whole set of tracks. By this point, it's usually getting busy. I kind of get lost in the music, or I'm done working before I get here. Excuse me. And it kind of just, I kind of like just don't end up getting to it as much, unfortunately. And again, that's not having a lot of time to listen to music anymore. Any free time I had was spent gaming to de-stress, I can't remember if this is all spoken word or if it's instrumental. Yeah, this is a little bit of lyrics. I'd rather look at this all as one part and kind of go over it a bit right now with you guys. This video is starting to get long. We're at 20 minutes, but I really, wanted to go over this with you guys. Let's see here. Moving up to the blue, because I can't remember if this is mostly instrumental. It's got a lot Game of Thrones feel to this track, eh? Okay, that's what I couldn't like again. This is where it's harder to give you guys my opinion on this part of the album, because a lot of it isn't super fresh in my memory at all. And the last time I had a chance to listen to this album was a while back. So these tracks are harder to do it, but just doing a quick refresher, I know makes it a little bit more boring for you guys, and I apologize for that. I only had a short period of time to be able to do this video tonight, and didn't really have time to go over the whole album before to really refresh my memory, which is unfortunate. But yeah, basically, in general, it's a big instrumentation that goes together. And if there's one thing that Nightwish does do good, and if I ever have a chance where I'm doing something, usually not gaming because it doesn't really fit into like the style of games I play. Like I like to match music to what I'm doing, and it doesn't really fit in with what I'm playing lately. But this is the kind of stuff that if I have time to listen to an instrumental, this is the kind of thing I would listen to. There's just a lot of things going on. It's just really nice, you know. You got a whole bunch of different things going on, and if you remember all the instrumental tracks we've done before with Nightwish, I really always enjoyed them, like a lot. Yeah, and then we got another speech comes in for Ad Destra to finish it off with another build-up, and then it ends. And that's really a section that I'm really going to have to come back and listen to, because I do love instrumentals, but again, with having less time lately, it's been so hard to... And it feels bad to me more than anything, because I really want to have more time to do it, and I just don't. But hey, like, stuff happens, you know? You just don't. So all in all, I thought it was a really solid album. It's not my favorite album, I don't think, by them. I think it's still going to be Endless Farm's most beautiful for me. So many tracks on there that I really enjoyed. I mean, the thing with every other album other than that one is this: I find there's a lot of songs that I love are just scattered throughout their discography, which for me almost feels like a better thing, because there's a lot of bands that they just have some albums I don't even touch. But with Nightwish, they have stuff throughout almost their whole discography. Almost. A lot of the really older stuff I don't find myself going back to. It's more on their newer side when they progressed their sound and got in a larger scale of sound that I really enjoy. And this album has a lot of elements of that going on, but also they cut back a little bit too, because that tribal feel, and it fit the style for the album, which is why it works. But at the same time, as you've noticed, a lot of the tracks that I really enjoy are more of the bigger productions, you know, like Shoemaker just becomes huge. Noise is just a big heavy rock. Music as well builds into a decent track. Harvest is the more relaxed one, but it's folky, so it's expected. So, you know, those four are definitely the highlights for me personally. How's the Heart is also another pretty good track. The more I think about it and the amount of times I've heard it, I've really enjoyed it as well. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty solid album in general, but definitely not their best work for me. And that's just for me. Like, obviously that opinion just is different for everyone. You know, it's not set in stone because I said it. That it's not, because I know how the people get in the comments sometimes. I got to make sure that I'm very specific. I don't want too much fighting comments over what album's better. But I know the Nightwish Army is always pretty nice and just, you know, really nice people to talk to. And whenever I do get the chance to get in the Discord, which is very rare for the React Side channel, which is still going strong, by the way. For anybody who's interested, you can always leave a comment, and I could probably leave a link. I think in the comments it works. If I put it in the comments, it should work, unless YouTube has changed that. And I can leave a link to get to that Discord group where there's a bunch of other reactors in there as well. And more than just talking about Nightwish as well. So yeah, to conclude, I think this definitely covers my promise for Anne to at least go over what I was planning on doing, which was listening to the rest of this album on the channel, and at least do this so it settles, you know. A lot of you were wondering as well, but I also promised that I would do that in memory of Anne. And that's it. It's a long ass video. I'm sorry. It's a long video. It's almost half an hour long. So I'm gonna cut it off here, and I will still be checking out a few songs from Decades as well, because I'm excited to check that out. As I was saying on the last video, and it probably won't be the next videos coming out. I want to do a few other musicians and stuff like that first, just to mix it up a little bit. And I want to just do Nightwish. I want to mix it up. So we will be back. Probably won't be too long though. So hopefully you guys enjoyed anyway. Listen to me rant a bit about the album, and I'll catch you guys later.